the universal law of inspired action. It's one of the most important principles in the entire framework of the Universal and Hermetic laws, yet it's almost never taught alongside them. And that's not a coincidence. While the law of attraction, the law of vibration, and the law of correspondence have been openly shared for centuries, this one has been quietly pushed into the background, as if someone, somewhere, decided the masses were better off without it. The popular teachings give you the visible laws, the ones that explain how to align your mind, raise your vibration, and attract what you desire. They are powerful, but incomplete. Without the law of inspired action, these other laws remain theoretical, like sacred blueprints no one ever actually builds from. This is the missing link that turns energy into motion, thought into matter, and possibility into reality. Imagine being given access to the 7 Hermetic principles, the wisdom that claims to explain how the universe itself operates, but with one vital mechanism quietly removed. That missing piece is this law. And here's the truth. Inspired action isn't about doing more. It's about recognizing the exact moment the universe whispers now, and stepping forward, even if the rest of the path is still hidden in shadow. In the next few minutes, we're going to uncover why this law was left in obscurity, how to recognize the signs when it's calling you, and why every change you've ever tried to make will remain temporary until you reclaim it and move in sync with the current of creation itself. For centuries, the teachings of the Universal and Hermetic laws have been passed down through manuscripts, oral traditions, and modern self-help movements. You've heard them in countless forms. Your thoughts create your reality. Everything is vibration. As above, so below. These are not lies. They are fragments of a much larger truth. But here's what most people don't realize. Every system of manifestation you've been taught is incomplete by design. The popularized versions focus on mental alignment, emotional state, and energetic frequency. Yet they leave out the one principle that forces the universe to respond in tangible ways: the law of inspired action. Without it, the other laws remain like wind blowing across an unturned sail, potential energy never harnessed. This omission is not random. In ancient schools of mystery, the law of inspired action was considered an advanced teaching, something reserved for initiates who had already proven they could act from alignment, not desperation. Revealing it too soon, they believed could lead to reckless action without wisdom. But as these teachings spread and diluted over time, the deeper context was lost, and what remained was a half map, a beautiful vision with no clear way to step inside it. The result? Generations of seekers visualizing, meditating, and affirming, yet wondering why nothing truly shifts. It's not that the Universal and Hermetic laws don't work. It's that the core ignition point has been hidden in plain sight, like a missing gear in a perfect clock. After this, you can never go back to not knowing. Inspired action is not just taking action. It's not about filling your day with busyness, forcing outcomes, or doing more for the sake of doing. True inspired action is movement born from alignment, the precise moment when your inner state and the currents of the universe meet, creating a pull you can almost feel in your bones. And here's where most people get it backwards. In the Universal and Hermetic laws, clarity about what you want always comes before worrying about how it will happen. The how is the domain of the universe. Your role is to set the destination, the exact result you desire, and then remain open enough to recognize when the path starts to reveal itself. That's when the law of inspired action takes over. When you're aligned with these laws, action doesn't come from fear, pressure, or impatience. It comes from clarity, resonance, and timing. It often arrives as a subtle nudge, a sudden idea, a conversation you just happen to overhear, a feeling that you need to be in a certain place at a certain time. To the untrained mind, these moments look random. To someone who understands the law of inspired action, they are the universe saying, "Move now." The difference between inspired action and ordinary action is like the difference between pushing a boulder uphill and watching it roll effortlessly with the current. Ordinary action works against resistance, driven by logic alone. Inspired action flows through the path of least resistance, yet carries the most impact, because it is fueled by both your will and the universal momentum. And here's what makes it so powerful. When you act from inspiration, you bypass the delays, doubts, and detours that keep most people stuck. You're no longer waiting for life to happen to you. You're stepping into the stream at the exact moment it's ready to carry you forward. Ordinary action is the mind's attempt to force reality into shape. It's strategic planning without alignment, endless checklists, and movement driven by urgency or fear of missing out. It often feels heavy, draining, and uncertain, like trying to carve a river through solid rock with your bare hands. Inspired action, on the other hand, feels different from the very first step. It has a sense of inevitability, as if the path is unfolding to meet you halfway. Doors open at the right moment, the right people appear, and obstacles either dissolve or transform into stepping stones. It's like walking into a room where every light turns on just as you enter, not because you forced them on, but because they were timed to your arrival. Ordinary action is rowing against the current, muscles burning, progress slow. Inspired action is raising the sail when the wind is already behind you. One fights resistance, the other harnesses momentum. And the most surprising part? Inspired action often requires less effort, but produces greater results, because it's not only powered by your will, it's amplified by the universe itself. Part of why this feels so foreign is because we live under a collective belief in effort. The deep, often unquestioned idea that only hard work, struggle, and sacrifice produce results. From an early age, we're told that more hours, more grind, and more exhaustion equal more success. This conditioning blinds us to the truth. It's not the amount of effort, but the alignment of effort that shapes reality. Inspired action is the antidote to this belief, proof that moving with the current can take you farther than pushing against it ever will. This is why so many people burn out chasing goals. They're pushing harder instead of moving smarter. They mistake constant motion for progress, not realizing that the most powerful moves are often the ones taken in perfect timing, when both the inner and outer worlds are aligned. The universe is not silent. It speaks through patterns, timing, and subtle invitations, most of which go unnoticed by those who are too busy forcing their own plans. The law of inspired action is activated the moment you recognize and respond to these signals. They can appear as a sudden intuition, a coincidence too precise to ignore, or a sequence of events that seems orchestrated just for you. These signals often arrive in moments of stillness, not chaos. A thought that drops into your mind while you're taking a walk. A conversation that confirms an idea you were already considering. A random encounter that opens a door you didn't even know existed. To someone unfamiliar with this law, these moments seem like luck. To someone attuned to it, they are a direct invitation from the fabric of reality itself. Ancient Hermetic teachings referred to this as reading the signs of the times, the ability to sense when the inner and outer worlds are aligned, and to act before the window closes. Just like the ocean, opportunity moves in tides. Miss the wave, and you might wait months or years for the same conditions to return. Catch it, and the momentum can carry you farther in days than ordinary action could in decades. This is why presence is not a luxury, but a necessity. If you are always rushing, always reacting, you won't notice the quiet doors opening around you. The law of inspired action doesn't shout, it whispers. And those who are still enough to hear it are the ones who walk through before anyone else even notices the doorway exists. When you ignore the law of inspired action, life has a way of looping you back into the same circumstances. No matter how much inner work you do, you might visualize the perfect relationship, the dream job, or financial freedom. But when the opportunity quietly knocks, you're too distracted, doubtful, or afraid to open the door. And in that hesitation, the moment passes. Opportunities are not static. They're living intersections of timing, energy, and alignment. When you miss them, the universe doesn't punish you, but it does move on. The tide shifts, the window closes, and what could have unfolded effortlessly now requires 10 times the effort, if it's even possible at all. This is why so many people claim the universal and hermetic laws don't work. Not because the laws are false, but because they're incomplete without this one. They align their thoughts, elevate their vibration, and then wait. They think the manifestation will simply appear at their doorstep, fully formed. But without stepping forward when the moment arrives, they remain where they are, staring at a blueprint that never becomes a building. And the cost isn't just lost opportunities. It's the erosion of trust in yourself. Every time you ignore that inner nudge, you reinforce the belief that you can't rely on your own instincts. Over time, this self-doubt becomes a kind of paralysis, and the life you were meant to live drifts farther out of reach. History is filled with moments where a single, timely action altered the entire course of a life, or even the world. An inventor who seizes on a sudden insight and sketches the design before it fades. A traveler who decides, without knowing why, to take a different route, and meets the person who changes everything. An artist who feels the urge to create in the middle of the night and produces their most celebrated work. These are not accidents. They are moments where the inner vision and the outer conditions clicked into perfect alignment, and the person acted before doubt could dissolve the momentum. The universal and hermetic laws were already in play, setting the stage. But it was the law of inspired action that brought the curtain up. Even in your own life, you felt flashes of this. Times when you made a decision so quickly and naturally that only later did you realize how pivotal it was. Maybe it was sending a message you'd been putting off, showing up to an event you almost skipped, or saying yes to an unexpected offer. Maybe it was something as simple as suddenly feeling like you had to go to a certain place. And once there, meeting someone who became a crucial part of the path toward what you were already co-creating. Looking back, you can see the ripple effect. The doors that opened, the chain of events that began in that instant. The truth is, inspired action doesn't just move you toward your goal. It often brings the goal to you faster than you imagined. It compresses timelines, collapses obstacles, and delivers results that feel almost effortless. And once you've experienced that kind of momentum, the old way of forcing, pushing, and grinding becomes almost unthinkable. The first step to practicing the law of inspired action is learning to recognize its arrival. It rarely comes with a loud announcement. More often, it's a subtle shift in your awareness, a thought that feels alive, a sudden pull toward a place, a name that keeps coming up, or a feeling that something needs to be done now. These nudges are the universe's way of pointing the way forward. To notice them, you must create space in your life for silence and observation. If your mind is constantly occupied, you'll miss the signals. Meditation, journaling, mindful walks, even intentional pauses in your day, these are not just spiritual habits. They are the receivers that tune you into the right frequency. Once you recognize the signal, the second step is trust. This is where most people hesitate. They want full certainty before acting, but inspired action doesn't work that way. It's not about seeing the whole staircase. It's about stepping onto the first stair when it appears. You move, and the next step reveals itself. Finally, you must act quickly. Hesitation is the enemy of inspired action. The energy of alignment is like a wave. It builds, peaks, and then dissipates. If you wait too long, you lose the momentum that was designed to carry you. This doesn't mean rushing into chaos. It means honoring the timing when the call comes. One of the simplest ways to recognize inspired action is by how it feels in your body and mind. When it arrives, it doesn't carry the weight of pressure or the chaos of panic. It has a quiet certainty to it, a sense of it feels right that often can't be explained logically. You may not know why you feel pulled to take that step, but something deep inside confirms that it's the right move, here and now. Start small. Follow the nudge to make the call. Visit the place. Write down the idea. The more you practice, the more you'll see a pattern emerge, and the more you'll realize the universe has been guiding you all along. The difference now is that you're listening and moving. The universal and hermetic laws are not separate rules competing for your attention. They are an interconnected system, each one influencing and amplifying the others. The law of vibration sets the energetic tone. The law of attraction pulls into your field what matches that vibration. The law of correspondence reflects your inner state in the outer world. The law of cause and effect governs the chain of events your actions set in motion. And woven through all of them is the law of inspired action, the point where energy becomes movement. Think of it like a musical composition. The other laws are the notes, the harmonies, the rhythm. Inspired action is the moment the conductor signals the orchestra to play. Without that cue, the music exists only on paper. With it, the composition comes alive, filling the room with sound that can be felt, not just imagined. This is why the ancients considered action a sacred part of creation, not a mundane chore. In Hermetic thought, the masculine and feminine principles, the active and receptive energies, must work together for manifestation to occur. Thought alone is the receptive principle. Inspired action is the active counterpart, bringing balance and completion. When you understand this connection, manifestation stops feeling like a mystery. You see that every inner shift prepares the outer conditions, and every inspired action locks that alignment into physical reality. The laws stop being abstract concepts and start becoming a living process you can participate in, moment by moment, choice by choice. The law of inspired action isn't just another idea to store in your mind. It's a living principle, one that demands participation. You now know that without it, the universal and hermetic laws remain incomplete, like a map with no roads, a seed with no soil, a song with no sound. From this moment forward, every nudge, every "it feels right" moment, every unexpected invitation or sudden impulse becomes an opportunity to step into alignment. You don't need to see the entire path, only to take the next step when it appears. That step is the bridge between the world you imagine and the one you live in. The difference between those who dream and those who manifest is simple. The dreamers wait, the manifestors move. You've been given the missing key. The question now is, will you carry it in your pocket, or will you use it to open the doors already forming in front of you? Your life is not waiting. The current is moving, and the moment to step in is now.